like to welcome everybody out to our special session on this July the 2nd, and call this meeting to order. On the amendments to the agenda, there are several. We're going to do a recognition of, Dr. Pickles will do a recognition of ASK 4-H Club. That will be 2.1, and then we will do requests for additional hours. Mr. Stallnecker will move that to 3.4. Welding program update, Dr. Pickles will move that to 4.1. Okay, Dr. Pickles, for your recognition.
Summer, if you'll come on up. The Madison County 4-H Ask Club made a $2,100 donation to our district last week. And then they also brought this painting. So, but they have very specific instructions on how the money could be used. So, $700 goes to our K2 lead teacher, our 3-5 lead teacher, and our 6th grade lead teacher, and they're all our ESC teachers. So they are really excited about what these ESC teachers will do with their money. They can't wait to see. So they brought our check in, and we've already deposited our money. And Summer and Sean brought this in, and it says thank you. So we appreciate them bringing the money in. And then Summer is going to, she's prepared a speech for us.
Good evening. My name is Summer Cloud. I am the president of the Ask 4-H Club here in Madison County. On the behalf of the Ask 4-H Club, I want to thank you all for your support since we started 6 years ago. Thanks to our community coming together, we have been able to send numerous kids with special needs to an overnight camp that is structured for their needs every summer. This camp is called Buddy Camp. This summer, we had money left over and wanted to give back to our community. Our club decided to give Madison County Central School ESC teachers a total of $2,100 to use it for ESC classrooms to help with hands-on activities and other educational purposes. $700 to go to the K through 2nd grade lead ESC teachers, $700 to go to the 3rd through 5th grade lead ESC teacher, and $700 to go to the 6th through 8th grade lead ESC teacher. We have learned that with our community working together, anything is possible. We also know that every child learns differently. We hope that with this donation, ESC classrooms at the Central School get the support they need, like the Ask Club has been given. Thank you.
Thank you very much to the Ask 4-H Club and to Summer. Items for individual consideration, 3.1, fuel bid. Mr. Ginn.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. What I'm presenting to you today is the fuel bid for the 2018-19 school year. I sent out 3 bid packages. I received 2 back. My suggestion is J&J Strong with the diesel price of 2.18 and the gasoline price of 1.95. So on the basis of that, they're the cheaper of the 2 that we received back. my suggestion.
The low bid.
I make the motion to approve the fuel bid with J&J Strong.
Motion made by Mr. Alford. Is there a second?
I second it.
Seconded by Ms. Gibson. All those in favor? I vote Ms. Becky. Okay. The next item, 3.2, school-based security plan, Mr. Killingsworth.
Good evening. This evening, what I was going to do is come to y'all and let you know, as I had spoke to each of you individually about this plan. I had met with all the principals. We've sat down with each of them. We've gone over the assessment, filled it out with them. Then we went back and I've got transportation. We've gone through that. We've got maintenance. We've gone through that. There's different aspects to it. Then I have gone back and went with the sheriff's department and the fire department to go through the various stages through all our school sites. So we are wrapping up that, this individual school safety plans now. Like I said, I've spoke to all you, Ms. Hagan, in the morning. I will definitely, I'll get with you and I can sit and we can go through every one of them all day. So that.
Okay, and that's fine with me. But here's the thing about it. You can tell me all day what you tell me. I need to read it for myself. And I know as a board member, and state statute says that I am making these decisions on this. And you go over with all the principles, and I understand the confidentiality of it. And as a board member, I am requesting a copy so that I can read it myself and so that I can understand it better. And state law says that I can get it, state statute say I can get it. I'm the decision-making body.
The security plans are highly
And
confidential.
of course, ma'am, I understand that, but I'm saying state statute say that I can get it, and I'm requesting one.
Mr. Killingsworth, would you like to address how they've addressed them in, from the Office of Safe Schools?
Mr. Attorney, would you address the issue that I'm requesting one, and state statute say that I'm getting one? I'm entitled to one. I'm the decision-making body, so I do want one. Let it reflect in the minutes that I am requesting one, no matter what state statute say, that I do get one.
There's no question that each board member gets to review a written copy of the plan. I am not familiar with any statute that would say that a board member is not entitled to a copy to take home. I know what other districts have done is they have had the board members come into the district office and review it there and give it back, so there aren't copies that are leaving the district office. I am not aware of anything that would bar a member of the school board from taking one out of the office. I will need to research that if that is the specific question that you have.
And I'd like you to make a note that we did go to Mr. Killingsworth, each of us individually, and it was discussed. He thoroughly discussed it with us.
And as you said,
So we are familiar with it.
Mr. Killingsworth, you and I discussed this also. And when you discussed it with me, I told you that I was in Canada.
Correct.
You did reach out, we discussed, and we did discuss something right before board meeting, and you've done your part, but you know what we discussed
And
about the copy.
this,
And I'm letting the board know that I want a copy.
in this particular report, we will submit, or I will submit to the state prior to the end of this month, because that is the deadline that it has to be. Now, to be honest with you, I pretty much can hit submit and we can send it now. After that, then we will compile all of those into a district report, and that's one that we definitely will have to come for your approval, but that is one that also has a deadline as to when we have to have it reported. Now, next year and the year beyond, those dates will change a little bit because, this is one of those things that they've just started, so they're kind of a little behind the ball getting it going. But I was just wanting to let y'all know I appreciate it, I thank you, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Yes, sir, thank you. About what time would you like me to come?
I will be here at 7 o'clock in the morning.
I won't.
Madam Chairman, do you want me to research that and
Yes,
email.
yes, if you don't mind.
And what I'll do is I'll email out an opinion to everybody, and that way I'll all know.
Okay. All right. The next item is this, 3.3, staffing allocation plan, job description update, Mr. Stallnaker and Ms. Lisa. Or did she leave?
She left.
Okay.
It was based off our 5 o'clock meeting.
Okay.
Bless you.
Madam Chairman, in the packets and according to our workshop, we discussed the assistant principals change their contractual time versus supplemental and versus salary compensation package. We're able to show you that we're having a savings to the general fund of $28,488.53. However, increasing a supplemental cost to the Title I of $45,222.81 to make all of our APs 12-month. Your questions were addressed. Pending any other question they have, I request approval by the board to convert these APs, all of them, to 12-month contract period.
Ms. Hagan, you had a couple of questions you wanted to ask the attorney?
No, I asked questions in the workshop, but I do want it to duly go in the records and reflect in the records that I did ask questions, that we commissioned a study on this, and this was approved 5-0 from the previous school board under the previous superintendent, and I would like for it to go in the meeting that we are supplanting, go in the minutes, that we are supplanting. Yes, we have a savings because we're supplanting with grant money, and this grant money will run out, and when this grant money runs out, where will this money come from? And we voted on it for 12 months. Our previous study showed where we would be better off just paying the hours. And why should assistant principals be made 12 months when we have principals? Our population, our student population has gone down. It's not going up. Each year, our school population is going down. And I have the objection because we're top-heavy. And we're being top-heavy with grant money. None of this money is being filtered down to the teachers or any. We come up with a reason, and we come up and play with numbers with the grant so that grant can help administrators and not the teachers. And those are my objections, and I need them to be reflected in the minutes. Thank you.
I'd like to ask a question. As a teacher myself, I've never heard of teachers getting raises out of grant money, or am I wrong?
Your raises that teachers are getting based off of the approved salary schedules
Yes,
negotiated with the
it never
be from
came
the
from a
general
grant
fund.
money.
Collective bargaining.
It would be from the
They're
general fund.
From the
represented
general
by
fund.
union, by collective
But now,
bargaining.
general fund is not grant money.
But regardless,
So this is,
regardless where,
you know-
regardless what the salary comes out of, general fund or federal grant, it's still, the salary schedule is still negotiated with the union. And we're in the middle
well,
of
I just wanted to get
And
that
so that's
straight.
what I'm saying.
Teachers do not get paid out of grant money.
They get paid out of grant money, but it's,
But
the salary is negotiated.
it's negotiated, okay, all right.
And what I am
Salary
saying
check.
with this grant money, we find grant money to pay administrators. We don't, and teachers do get paid out of grant money, and we don't find any of this grant money to give teachers raises. And
Well-
with this grant money, the grant money is due to other special projects and stuff. There are so many projects that we can spend this money on besides finding money just to be top-heavy and give salary increases to administrators.
All right, let me take that back. There are teachers paid out of grant money, but I'm talking about teacher raises.
You cannot give a teacher a raise.
No,
unless
yeah,
it's
that's what I
negotiated.
should have clarified in the beginning.
Absolutely correct.
Right, that's what, I know there are teachers being, but I'm talking about teacher raises, which of course we'd all like to give the teachers a raise.
When they get a step raise or performance pay increase, whatever pot they're being paid out of, it comes out of that.
Okay, thank
But
you.
just arbitrarily giving you a raise as a teacher, we can't do that unless it's negotiated.
Right,
And my
right.
main point is we're supplanting.
Nope.
We're supplanting our administrative salary with grant money. When this grant money goes away, this money will come out of general funds.
Well, isn't this a yearly thing that we're voting on right now, though? I mean, couldn't
The
we?
Title I is an allocation.
Right, I mean,
And
there's
it's
always,
guaranteed money, all we have to do is apply for it.
right, and next year's another year. You know, it's not like we're just carving this in
We apply
cement.
for it again, it comes in, and
If you don't have the money, then you don't have 12-month employees then doing the
Ms.
job.
Roderick, as she stated, she is working on the Title I Part A, and she is rewriting that. She has submitted the assurances, but she is actually working on writing the full grant. Earlier today, that's what she was working
And
on.
there are other projects that we can spend this money on for the whole district-wide with this Title I money instead of raises for administrators.
Mr. Stallnaker, I have one question. The qualifications for it, is that what it's always been, or is that
What is that?
for 3 years of successful teaching?
Let me get my comment.
That just seems,
That was not
That's-
changed.
that's always been 3 years?
Yes.
That was my question.
Just had a
Talking about
question
job description.
On the job description.
Yes.
in regards to negotiations. I know we had to kind of put that on pause pending the outcome of the school grades.
Yes, sir.
So when will we pick up negotiations for this, that we,
We're
this
in the
previous?
process of scheduling those now.
Most likely when Ms. Roberts returns in August.
Are there any other questions? Barring, excuse me,
So I-
barring no other questions, is there a motion to approve the staff allocation plan job description update?
I'll make a motion to approve the staffing allocation plan and the job description update.
Okay, is there a second?
I second it. I would like to say something in discussion. I don't have an issue with this. The only issue I have is, if we're going to do this, then I expect the APs to work.
Amen to that. That's-
And again, our past history of extending hours during the summer, I can't say that that's been going on with 100%. And that's the only thing that I'm asking, is if we're going out on a line to do this, then I expect APs to work and do what they're supposed to do.
Well, we have two principals that would hold them accountable to do their jobs.
I hope. And we've been told that before, and I just hope that there's a new era and it'll start new. I mean, that's the only concern I have with this. And again, if we see that it hasn't worked, then next year we have the option of not.
Correct.
And we'll have that option to change, I hope, next year.
That's the one thing I want to say about it, is if we're going to do it, then I expect the APs to work and do what they're supposed to do, because it could be a big benefit for the students and the school if they truly did work.
And you have at least one principal here that is taking notice of what you're saying, and I'll pass that along to the other principal.
Thank you.
All right. Any other comments? All those in favor? All those opposed? 4-1, Ms. Becky. Okay, we have 3.4. Well, that was the request for the additional hours.
Yes, ma'am. Also, there's a tremendous cost-saving factor. And Dr. Pickles opted to place a teacher on special assignment at the high school for one of the APs. That teacher's actually on a 10-month contract, paid as a teacher instead of paying as an AP, which is saving a substantial amount of money. However, Ms. Wildgoose has requested 80 additional hours from Mr. Hightower. His hourly wage is $29.53 per hour. Multiply that by 80, which is $2,362.40, total package plus benefits. And those are to help with scheduling, in-service training, editing teacher handbooks, student handbooks, the same job duties an AP would be doing.
Are there any questions or concerns to ask Mr. Stallnaker about this? Is there a motion to approve the additional hours?
I make the motion to approve the additional hours requested by Ms. Wildgoose at MCHS.
All right, is there a second?
I'll second it.
No other questions? All those in favor? All those opposed? 4-1, Ms. Becky.
Thank you, Board.
Okay. I've made so many notes on my paper here.
I'm up next.
4.1, welding, Dr. Pickles.
I'm excited to announce, I told you that after we approved our agreement, the college the next night approved the agreement. They have advertised for the welding instructor, and I'm not sure when they plan to close that position. Ms. Ginn and myself met with Mr. Dunkel and Ms. Page from the college last week, and we toured the facility and went over some of the things in the agreement and addressed some of the things we still need to do as part of the agreement. So we walked around the outside, showed them where we were going to put the secured portion for their storage, and we'll be having the building purchased and some fence work that we have to, because we have to lock up everything. Reviewing statute and things in the budget, some of these additional items, since they're required by the college, we'll be able to pay for those out of our workforce funds. So we will be purchasing additional portable welders, the building, and then this fencing, because this is not stuff we would normally do, but they're requiring us to do. We do have some scheduling conflicts due to the differences in calendars. So we talked about how to deal with that, and we are addressing those. We start back on the 13th. The college does not start back until the 15th. So we are making arrangements to either look at some possible, go ahead and start some online OSHA training, or see what training we can do for OSHA as far as safety, and also having some guest speakers come in to talk about welding programs in general, to make sure the students, the 41 students that are signed up and the ones we can fit in the class, definitely want to stay. I know that just being from experience with my own child, he was not able to start until about October, when he signed up at Taylor Tech at the time. He had to wait for some students to drop out. And I believe we have 40 males and 1 female that have signed up. So, then our numbers have increased maybe.
No, it's 41, but 3 females.
Okay, 3 females. So, we've been talking about how to fill the classes and based on the number of hours they can get.
So with this program, as the student drops out, then you can pick someone up mid-program, or?
Well, you can the college side.
Uh-huh.
For us, we still have our 9 weeks and things, so we'd have to figure out what to do with the student, which is the reason it's going to help us if we have somebody come in and kind of talk about the welding program the first day or two. Because if they're not interested in it.
Have we decided how many students are we going to, from the high school, taking the welding program?
Well, there's 6 that are signed up from James Madison, and the rest are ours.
Okay, so we will be, all 40, accommodating
Well,
all
that's
41 students.
one of the things we've talked about, because the college, just getting started, they may not fill up their night classes with the community. So we may see if some of the students want to take classes at night.
Okay, so how many will we be able to accommodate from the school?
Probably about 30, because
30.
we're going to have 2 classes.
30 slots?
Okay. How long is this course?
It's 1,050 hours.
1,000, how many?
50.
1,000.
But it's 4 semesters. It's
4 semesters. Okay.
But it's,
It'll probably be closer to 6 semesters for us.
yeah, I was going to say it's at least 4 semesters.
Okay, so 6.
It'll take 10th, 11th, and 12th grade for them to get through it.
Okay.
Depends on if they're signing up 2 periods. But I know when we were talking last week, it would be the minimum 4 semesters for high school students.
I'd like to thank Mrs. Ginn for giving me a tour of the welding program. I was out at the high school last week, and her and Mrs. Wildgoose gave me a tour, and I'm very excited about this for the students. It's going to be a great thing for
I
them.
think this will be a good boost for our community. And I know that the college, while they're jumping through their hoops, they do have some scholarships and stuff. So we're really excited about it.
Good, sounds good, sounds good.
For those that are on Facebook, one of our new laws based off House Bill 7055, it's actually Section 22 of House Bill 7055. We have to put and display the state motto in all our school buildings. So last week I was going around putting our state motto, "In God We Trust," in all our schools. And it was actually interesting. Some of the staff were like, "Oh, we really put this up." So, but we put this up in all our schools, and it's actually even in the district office and in the annex. I have to redo the one at the annex because of the tinted windows. The black does not show up very well. So it's displayed in all our schools. And then lastly, I did email everyone about the school grades. Before I had the predicted school grades. The official school grades have been released. But more importantly, was the district grade improved. So overall, our district grade is now a B. And so it was kind of interesting as we read across, it was B and then C, and then D's and F's, and it was like, oh, wait a minute, we're a B. So it's
A lot of hard
exciting.
work, a lot of hard work by a lot of people. Thank
I
everybody.
have already emailed the principals the last 3 years of their school grades, told them to start studying, and now we want to get rid of make our C schools at least a B, and our B schools A schools, and our A school to maintain. So that's our goal for next year.
All right, sounds good. Anything else?
That's all I have.
There is one item that I'd like to bring to the attention of the board. We have a workshop scheduled for September the 3rd. That's Labor Day. Would the board entertain the idea of keeping it on the September 3rd Labor Day, or possibly moving it to that Tuesday, September the 4th?
Well, Labor Day is a holiday, isn't it?
It is. So what would be the pleasure of the board?
I won't be here.
I could go either way.
Mark, what do you?
We could either do the 3rd or the 4th.
I know it's a holiday, and I hate to make our staff and
Right,
them
Yeah,
come in
well,
to
When
work.
it's a legal holiday, we
we
can't make
can't.
it.
So
Why
the
don't we-
4th would, we would need to change it to the 4th.
I think the 4th would be better
Okay,
because of the.
Mr. Daniels?
I go with 4.
Okay. Well, can we advertise that to change that workshop to the 4th? And that's all I have. Mr. Alford, do you have anything?
No, ma'am, just that, congratulating the schools on their grades and the district on the grade. This is the first year of the history of grades being given that we have received a B, so that's a lot to be celebrated. We've had years where the grade really wasn't that great, but this year it is a B, but there's still a lot to do, a whole lot to do if you really look at the scores.
Ms. Hagan?
I'm so pleased with all the grades. I know that teachers have worked just as hard as with these 6 and 7 periods that these students are having, as well as administrators. There are some things that I need to address. And Mrs. Starnaker, I need a copy of the equity report, please. You can, thank you. And here's something else that we need to address. Those accusations, they weren't accusations. The teacher of the year, she wrote us a letter. And those things that were said in that letter, well, we need to have a workshop, or we need to have a discussion on it. Mr. Reeves, did you receive that letter from the teacher of the year?
I have not received it. I heard it was out.
And don't you think that we, as a board, this has been reported to us, that we need to address this?
Certainly, it's appropriate if y'all would like to have a workshop on it.
That's exactly. We need to address those issues that she has, and it's in writing, and when you put it in writing, it does not go away, and these are issues, and she stands her ground, and we need to address these issues.
Mr. Daniels?
Let's see, I wanted to recognize, I guess, young Summer. Is it Summer? Just wanted to recognize you for doing a remarkable job with your presentation. She did well.
And she
Take a lot.
reads well, too.
Yeah, she articulates very well, and we commend her. And And also, just wanted to commend again the district and everybody that makes up the district for a job well done, improving the grades there. It just looks so much better when you look at the grades and you look at the previous years and you look at this year. It just makes you feel better about, you know, your district. So I appreciate the superintendent and everybody that played a role in this process. That's all I have.
Ms. Gibson?
I'd like to thank Summer and ask for this contribution that you made to the schools. That's a wonderful thing. It'll be a long-lasting gift, too. It'll affect many students. I'm rejoicing with the grades. I know it was a lot of hard work on a lot of different people, and I'm just thrilled about the whole thing, and thank you.
Okay. Anything else?
Yes, ma'am. We didn't make a decision on the issue that I was talking
I was
about.
just fixing to
The
say,
the teacher of the year, those issues.
Ms. Dr. Pickles, if we could get Mr. Reeves a copy of that and need to see all involved and get a schedule for all the people that are involved that need to be there, a date that we can set up a workshop for that.
I mean, don't we need to discuss it first and then start getting involved people later? So we would know how to handle this and what to do. Don't just the board, we need to have that workshop first. And then the questions that we have, and then we invite, people who are involved with this stuff or whatever.
So you don't think that when we have the workshop that the lady that wrote the letter should be involved?
Not at this particular time. We go through the letter, and when we go through the letter, and we pick out the concerns and issues, and then when we choose the concerns and issues, and then we decide what we want to do, and then we invite her. What you think, Mr. Reeves?
I think the board can choose to do it however y'all want.
Yes, sir, but of course, we can choose to do it however we want to.
Right.
But if we get these questions in our mind first, meet as a board, and get these questions in our mind that we want to ask, we want to question, and then we get them in our mind, then we can invite her.
Okay, I
So
was
that
just
we will
thinking
have
that
the
we might
questions
need
that
her
we
to
want to
answer.
ask her then and there. We will have a clear picture of what we want to do and what we want to ask.
The administrators will be at our workshop.
I'd like to have some information from the administrators. If she's had any complaints throughout the year, she was there for one whole year. Did she voice any problems that was going on? I've got to know that. In other words, she was there.
That's why I was saying, the way you lead in an investigation, you study the report first, and then when you study the report first, and then you go to the next process, there's a procedure of all things that you do, and you want to kind of handle it correctly, not cutting out anybody, but there is a procedure that you should follow and go through before we involve anybody else, the administrators and all that. And then those are some of the questions that we would ask through the second step of the administrators, and then from there on.
Do you want us set a date now, or do you want to look at the calendar, or what do we need to do? I know we have some workshops already scheduled.
Well, do we want to, something this important, want to just group this with that? This report has legal repercussions. Legal repercussions. Big legal repercussions.
Next, we have a workshop next Monday. At what time, and what's that one about?
That's the budget workshop at 6 p.m.
At 6 p.m.
When's that
Could-
workshop?
On the 9th,
The 9th.
July 9th?
I will not be, that's Jefferson School Board.
Okay.
I couldn't come.
You would not be here?
I would not be able to be here.
We don't need no legal stuff.
You think an hour would be enough for us to gather our questions that we need to get answered for
Well,
those
do we
concerns?
need to have that legal workshop without the attorney?
Do what?
Do we need to have it without the attorney?
I don't know. If the first workshop is to gather all the questions that we need to ask of all the different people, we can have him there or not have him there. That's up to this,
We
whatever.
probably should have him there.
I think we should have it there through every step of the way.
All right. What about, well, we have a regular meeting on the 16th at 6. What about a workshop at 5 on the 16th? Is that a good date for everybody?
July 16th?
If it's a good date, I don't know if
At
that's a good date
5.
with you, Mr. Reed. So at 5 o'clock on the 16th, a workshop. And then this regular meeting will be at 6 o'clock.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
That's fine with me, Ms. Williamson.
Okay, yeah, all right. Okay, we will move to the review of the agenda for the July 16th regular meeting. Are there any questions or comments or discussion that we need to do for the consent agenda? Any item on the consent agenda?
There's some document cameras that we're purchasing for the district. There's the memberships for the upcoming year for Florida School Boards Association, the small district, which is Chris Doolin. He's our lobbyist for the small rural districts. And then for FADS, we have our PD tracking system, how we keep track of, it's called TRACK, how we keep track of our professional development points. We have that. We have autism services. We have our mental health plan. Ms. Newman and her staff went to Tallahassee and worked on that with the Department of Education. So at least this year, this is how they want this. They provided the guidance with how we're supposed to write this mental health plan. Then there's property disposals. You'll see the Title I, Part 1 and Part C and D under there. So you'll see some of that. Then there's high school high tech and MOU for high school high tech at the high school. There's a SIG 4 amendment, and there's no staff trips coming out of any of our grants for this meeting at the moment. We should not have any. We previously approved at the June meeting, a lot of the staff will be gone. Actually, the next 2 weeks, we're all staggered, attending various trips. So, and then teachers return August 1st. And then there's no general fund, no student trips, and Mr. Reeves has the rite of passage contract that hopefully he'll get us that by the end of the week. There were a few minor changes, just a few little additions. And then we are in the process of interviewing. I believe there's some interviews tomorrow that are set up. So we're working on interviewing and filling our final vacancies for instructional and at our various schools. And restaffing, moving people around based on the needs. So we'll have our personnel recommendations updated.
When do teachers return again, Dr. Pickles?
August 1st.
August 1st. How many openings do we have at this point? Do y'all have an idea of that?
Do you have your list updated?
How many openings at this point?
We have 3 at the high school. This is just instruction. We have English, math, and social studies. One of them is due to a transfer from Mr. McFarland going to ESE. One of them is Mr. Hightower, and one of them is Ms. Vargas. Then at the central school, there are 11. All of them are advertised. They close on or about July 7th. Then in Greenville, there's 1 that closed. We had a packet ready to interview. One person could not get in contact with, and the other canceled today. So we re-advertised that. And there's 3 at Pinetta because of teachers from Pinetta transferring to Pinetta
So there's still 3 openings at Pinetta?
Yes. And we're interviewing one of those tomorrow. There's 2 transfers from Central that want to go out there, so when there's 2 transfers, we interview them.
So you'll have 2 more at Central?
One, because after, there's 2 that wanted to transfer before these other 2 popped up. There's 2 that wanted to transfer from Central School to Pinetta. And we told those 2 that they would have to interview. And I've since asked, since we're having difficulty, I've since asked Dr. Pickles if she concurred to no longer accept any more transfers from any of our schools. So we can interview from them all.
The issue about the transfer, and if we've been allowing part of people to do it, I don't know that we should stop it in midstream.
I'm not saying the other person can still apply for the position, they just have to go through the interview
Oh, I
process.
see. I thought you were meaning that they couldn't.
They can still.
They just have to
Not
apply.
allow a transfer, they will have to apply and go through the interview process.
Okay.
Not anything else.
Did you say 2 at Central? How many at Central?
11.
11.
Oh, 11. Okay.
At Central, we have filled 13.
So you feel 13, and this is 11 more on top of the 13?
13, 14, 15, 16, 17 Central.
You filled 17?
Our problem is we have to keep the positions based off the bargaining contract. We have to have it advertised for 10 days. So, time we advertise it, we're having to wait the 10 days. It's 3 days internal, and then the additional, so we're having to wait.
Now come July 15th, we can
Yeah.
advertise and fill immediately.
Okay.
Through
But
August.
we have another 2 weeks, we're still waiting.
With all these new teachers, again, could we please make sure that they have the training and how to use the programs? Because that's,
All new teacher coming to the district will have a mentor.
not just a mentor, but someone to train them how to use the programs. Because I've had a teacher who went this year, and she said that she really didn't know how to use like the reading program, and that's not fair to the teacher or the students. So if we could make sure in the pre-planning that someone shows them how to do it where they feel confident in what they're doing.
Okay, is that all on, on that, Dr. Pickles? Is there any questions or comments that you need to make about the agenda for the 16th meeting?
I don't know if this should be put on the agenda, but I've had many, many concerns and many calls about the way we do Teacher of the Year here. We have a Teacher of the Year that's quit. She's going to go to Orlando, and she's going to accept $10,000 from Macy's, even though she's not even employed with our school system anymore. She wasn't even with the school system for 6 months when she was approved to be Teacher of the Year. There were outstanding long-term teachers that were candidates. They were, and this girl came in. After 3 months, she gets to be teacher, came in, spent a couple months here, and she's Teacher of the Year. She's gone now. She's still going to go to Orlando. She's still going to collect $10,000, which they all collect $10,000, the teacher of the 67, one from each county. And I've had a lot of concerns, and I don't care. I'm not talking about her personally. She may be an excellent, she wasn't here long enough to know if she's an excellent teacher. When you're at a place for 3 months, we don't know what kind of a teacher you are. But she's going to collect the $10,000, and not only that, those teachers that were on that, I know most of them because I've been around for a long time. If they would have gotten that $10,000, part of that money, knowing the way teachers operate, and I know teachers, that money would have gone right back into their classroom, and any teacher out there can testify to this. And that $10,000 is not going in any classroom around here. That's gone. That's all I have to say about it.
The district doesn't make the decision as to who the teacher of the year is.
No, I know who makes, I've done my
And where does that $10,000 come from? And have we ever had any teacher that we know of who has donated that money back? 'Cause
That
the
10
last I've heard, they were taking vacations.
10,000 will not be donated back. I'm saying, and you're not a teacher, there are many teachers sitting out there, teachers spend money of their own in their classroom.
That's correct. But
Now
so we
that-
want the
that-
same as usual. We want it to roll same as usual. Our school would be a B grade and C's and stuff if changes hadn't been made, see? And changes need to be made, so we want same as usual. Some way or another, this teacher she earned what she got as teacher of the year from outside forces and sources and stuff. And so when we have all this and we're looking at and we're complaining, that's just so unfair to this teacher of the year.
We're not putting the teacher down because we don't know the teacher. The teacher wasn't here long enough for us to get her know her when she was.
And those people who voted for her undoubtedly.
Well, evidently, they were very impressed. That's good. But I have done my homework. The other counties, and Madison is included, always had 3 years they had to be here up until, I guess, this year. I don't know if this,
So
why
you're
it was
saying
changed.
those people who made the choice broke the rules that they made? They
Well,
broke their
I
own
think they were
rules?
given permission to do it, and I think it needs to be looked at. Other counties have 3 years or 5 years.
Is the board really in charge of that?
I don't think the board is in charge of it, but I think the
You're
school
not.
has something to do with it, though.
I will pass the
And
comments
you can
along
pass
to
it on.
Mr. Sand.
And
Yeah.
this money, these people are, and this money earned, they're giving our students scholarships and whatever. And this board wants to dip and dab and criticize that particular board for their opinions. These are learned people. Most of them are retired from their jobs, and they are very learned people. And from the information they had and from all other objectives, this woman qualified. We may not have another one to qualify for a long time, but this one did qualify, and they give the scholarship money. And if we want to make them mad and second guess them and all the scholarship money that they're given, hey, we're saying that we don't trust their judgment then.
Well-
And keep your scholarship money.
I didn't ask for a debate. I just am relaying what I've been hearing.
That's not a debate, that's an opinion.
Okay.
Any other comments? Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Gibson, seconded by Mr. Danis.